Every story ends in a text. Welcome to Text Tales.
Have you ever carried something so heavy inside you that even silence felt loud? That kind of pain that doesn't fade, it just learns how to hide better. Sometimes it's not the memory of what they did, it's the echo of what they never apologized for. You tell yourself you've moved on, you smile, you work, you laugh when you're supposed to, but deep down, that wound still breathes. They say forgiveness sets you free, but what if letting go feels like betrayal? What if forgiveness means giving peace to the one who never earned it? My name is Aaron Miles, and this is the story of the day I stopped pretending I'd forgiven. 2 years ago, I lived a simple kind of life. Modest apartment, same morning coffee, same worn brown boots. I was engaged to Lena, the kind of woman people describe as sunlight because they don't know how to describe warmth. And I worked maintenance at a mid-sized factory where machines were loud enough to drown your thoughts. We were saving for a small wedding. She was a nurse. We were both tired but content. You know that stage, the one where life finally stops fighting you long enough for you to breathe. Then came Evan Price, new supervisor, charming in the corporate way. Clean hands, clean smile, dirty instincts. He liked taking credit for things. He liked being liked. At first he was harmless. Then he started stopping by Lena's ward under the excuse of routine checkups because his cousin had been admitted there once. I didn't think much of it. I trusted her. Trust is easy when you haven't watched it break yet. Until one night she came home quiet, too quiet, and when I asked what was wrong, she said, "Nothing, just tired." She went to bed early, her phone didn't. The messages started with work talk, drifted into jokes, and then into, "I miss seeing you today." That phrase doesn't look sharp until you touch it. I confronted her. She cried, said it was harmless, that she just liked being seen. I told her I understood. I didn't. 3 weeks later, she moved her things out while I was on the night shift, left a note that said, "I need to find myself before I lose the rest of me." Funny thing, she found herself in his apartment. People said time would dull it. It didn't. It just gave the pain better posture. Grief doesn't always look like tears. Sometimes it's forgetting to eat or replaying arguments you never actually had. I lost 15 pounds, missed rent twice, stopped answering friends who meant well. Every morning I saw his car parked near the factory, the same silver sedan he used to drive her home once. Each time my chest went tight, like my ribs were trying to cage a scream. At night, I'd lie awake thinking of all the things I wanted to say to him if we were ever alone. Then one night, the universe obliged. The factory had a side project, an old storage lot we were clearing out. Evan stayed late to inspect inventory, which meant standing around with a clipboard pretending he knew what he was looking at. I stayed because insomnia is cheaper than therapy. Around 11, the lights flickered out. Generator trouble. He called from the far end, voice echoing against metal beams. "Hey Miles, can you check the panel?" I walked toward him. No audience, no cameras, just us and the hum of machines cooling. I said, "Sure thing, boss." He laughed. "Still bitter?" I said nothing. He stepped closer. "She told me you were controlling, that you'd never let her breathe. I did her a favor." That sentence hit harder than any punch could. I realized then, he didn't feel guilt, he felt ownership. I didn't touch him. Not that night. Violence gets you headlines, patience gets you closure. The next morning I called in sick and started remembering everything I'd ever learned about systems. Our factory logged every purchase, every inventory request, all signed by one man, Evan Price. I started digging. He'd been double billing suppliers, pocketing refunds under a false vendor ID, smart. Small enough to avoid attention, steady enough to matter. I built a file, invoices, duplicate serials, timestamps. I didn't fake a thing. I just highlighted what was already there. Then I sent an anonymous email to corporate compliance with one sentence. "Check the vendor history for lot 49. You'll find theft, not maintenance." 2 days later, auditors arrived. 2 hours after that, Evan was called upstairs. He didn't come back down. When he finally walked out, he didn't look angry. He looked afraid. Corporate suspended him pending investigation. HR asked questions. Rumors started. I didn't gloat. I just worked. But guilt is sneaky. I'd dream of Lena saying, "You're better than this." I'd wake up and whisper, "No, I'm not." Weeks later, she texted, "Can we talk?" We met at a diner off Main Street. She looked smaller, softer. She said she'd heard about Evan, that she didn't know he was that kind of person. She wanted to apologize. I told her I'd accepted it, that people fall apart sometimes, that forgiveness wasn't the same as permission. She nodded, eyes wet. "He's gone. Moved out of state," I lied. "Good for him." But I knew better. People like him don't run. They relocate their opportunities. The company pressed charges. Evan denied everything until they showed him the signed invoices. Then he blamed others. Me, Lena, anyone nearby. He avoided jail by turning evidence on a supplier scam he'd joined. He lost his job, his apartment, his name in the industry. He didn't lose his smile. Months later, I got a plain envelope in my mailbox. No return address. Inside, a photo of my apartment building from across the street and one line, "Still think you're better than me?" I stared at that picture for an hour. Then I did the one thing he didn't expect. Nothing. I didn't report it. Didn't react. Because some punishments work better when they don't make sound. He wanted me angry. I gave him quiet. And that silence ate him alive. 6 months later, I saw him at a gas station off the highway. He looked older, thinner, jittery, wearing the same suit he used to brag about. Our eyes met through the glass. He froze. I smiled, not cruelly, just factually. He walked out without paying for gas. The clerk yelled. I paid the bill myself. Because it wasn't about punishment anymore, it was about finality. I realized then that revenge doesn't always mean destroying someone. Sometimes it means watching them collapse under the weight of what they built. People like to end stories with forgiveness, but forgiveness is not always freedom. Sometimes it's surrender, and sometimes surrender isn't brave. It's premature. I don't hate him now. Hatred's heavy. I put it down. But I remember, and remembering is its own kind of mercy. The kind that keeps you from making the same mistake twice. When I walk past the factory gates at night, I still hear the machines breathe. They sound like forgiveness grinding its gears. Lena moved back to her hometown. We spoke once more. She told me she's engaged again, that she hopes I'm happy. I told her I am. I meant it, mostly. Some nights I sit on my balcony and think about the difference between revenge and justice. Revenge feeds you once. Justice keeps you alive. But here's what nobody says. You can't forgive what hasn't been owned. You can only release your need to hear sorry. So I forgave myself instead, for loving too hard, for trusting too fast, for breaking and rebuilding in the same breath. Have you ever been so deeply hurt that forgiveness felt impossible, like an unclimbable mountain that mocks you from above? You're not weak for standing still. Sometimes the climb isn't about reaching peace, it's about learning how to stop carrying someone else's sin on your back. I didn't win, I just stopped losing, and maybe that's what forgiveness really is.
Hope you liked today's story. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tales every week. And if you have story ideas or twists you'd love to see, drop them in the comments below. We read every single one.